All right, everybody, welcome back. And this video series we're going to do is teach you to become a master problem solver in IT. And that is by building React sites, building, troubleshooting, working. And the reason I picked this is because it's a great way to work on various systems, various installs, run commands. There is so much going on here that is going to help you kind of find your way in IT. And again, this video is targeted to beginners. So all the experts out there, drop all your comments. Don't forget to subscribe, like, all that good stuff. But do that after the video. Do that at the end. I want to make sure you're getting value out of this. But make sure that if you're an expert in this, drop some suggestions and some comments. This channel is to help people. And that's the whole point of this. So let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn a lot. And we're going to do a number of things. We're going to install Node.js. We're going to install Visual Studio Code, which is super helpful in doing a lot of troubleshooting of code systems, running PowerShell commands, running Python commands, you name it, all is there. We're going to run Visual Studio Code. We're going to verify the versions of Node and NPM. And you can also install Yarn. Yarn is another version that you could probably use for a lot of different types of React sites. Then we're going to install Docusaurus. Docusaurus is my absolute favorite documentation website, static website to build. You can also install front-end content management systems. You can install search tools, search engines for it. You can basically build any type of documentation site you want. You could build a Microsoft Learn clone site if you want. Totally easy to do. Then we're going to set up VS Code. Basically what that means is I'm going to set up the environment and open my terminal. We're going to say open terminal. And we're going to build run test by changing code so you can actually see this in real time. What this looks like, so right here, this is a React site, right? So it's nice and responsive and it's kind of cool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to change something in real time. So I'm going to change this right here. I'm going to say elevate your skills. And as soon as I hit save, you can see it's an unsaved item with the little dot here. As soon as I hit Control S or Command S on the Mac and that saves, boom, it changes. It's that fast, that real time. Now, again, I'm running this locally on my machine. That's why it's able to do that, but that's the beauty of a React site. It allows you to do dynamic real-time changes and update all the content you want. That's what we're going to learn today. So I'm going to Control C this so I can end it, and I'm going to close this down so we can start here. So the first thing you want to do is install probably, let's go this way first. Let's do Visual Code first. You can install this on Windows. You can install this on Linux, and you can install this on Mac. Now, I will do my best to give you the reference commands from each, but the nice thing about this, the beautiful thing about learning this, about this part right here, becoming a master problem solver, is that you can install this, you can do all of this on all different types of platforms, whether it's Windows, Linux, Mac, and even the cloud. I'll do that in a separate video. But for now, we're just going to go through the process of building things locally on your computer so then you can get your hands wet or dirty. Depends on which way you want to go. But anyway, so we want to install and get Visual Code going. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one down because I don't need that one open anymore. And let's say it's already installed. So here we go. It is installed. There's nothing in here. I have an empty folder, right? But again, I'll show you how to do that. So we're good to go there. Next, we're going to do is we're going to download Node.js. And that helps you do a lot of the React stuff. That helps you do a lot of the Node.js, JavaScript items. But there's two ways to install this. You can run a bunch of commands in PowerShell, or you can download it depending on what platform you're on. But as you can see, this is also supported on the different versions of platforms. If I click on Mac OS, it's going to give you the bash commands. If I click on Linux, it's also going to give you the bash commands, but you can also do it via the pre-built installer. I recommend for new people, just do the installer. It's much easier, much quicker, and it'll take care of your issues. Now, where can you get React sites? Now, you could do Docusaurus for free. That's why I pick it. But there's many places for you to get React sites so you can get your practice in. It's depending on how they're built. I use ThemeForest, which is an Envato product. I have Envato Elements, and you can do a search, and it's called Jamstack. That's where they are. That's where the React websites are. And you're going to see a lot of Gatsby in here. And by the way, Gatsby's kind of going away. React is kind of taking the big role here with Netafly, which is a hosting platform, but you can host all of this in Azure, which I do. To me, hosting in Azure is faster, but again, totally up to you where you decide to go with this. Same thing here. If you just go into Envato Elements and go into Web Templates and do a search on React, it'll bring you back different React sites. And as you can see, I don't know where it went, but I had that one I was just showing you came from here. Anyway, So that's that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to assume we've installed Node.js and we have downloaded a React site, but we're going to show you that later. Really what we're focused on is building a documentation site, building a great documentation site that you can use anywhere. Totally up to you. You can even use it on your machine. But again, this gets you practice. So I've mixed these around. So we're going to do this. Dunt, 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 dunt. There. So we've installed Node.js. We're going to assume that. We're going to run Visual Code. So here it is. Here's Visual Code. So you're going to go, okay, but now I need to verify that I have Node.js installed. Well, that's easy. All you need to do is go up to Terminal and click New Terminal. And you're going to see you have a new terminal command here. You can do this in PowerShell. And by the way, if you're going to do PowerShell, upgrade your PowerShell. Upgrade it to version 7. Highly recommend. Go do that. All right, so get that installed, but you can do that right in here. Now, when you install Visual Studio Code, you're gonna be prompted to install extensions based on what you're doing. You're gonna notice I have Python, I have WSL, which is the Windows subsystem for Linux. You have Docker. There's a ton of extensions you can install, and it will prompt you for them when you're running different types of code or when you create new files, and it detects what type of code you're running. So if it prompts you to install it, I recommend you install it until you really know what you're doing and you understand which tools you need. It just really helps out in terms of what you're doing, right? So what we're going to do here is I have a new folder, and in that folder is called Docusaurus. So in here it's empty. As you can see, the folder is empty. Docusaurus, React sites, blah, blah, blah. It is empty. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our steps and we're going to say, all right, I need to verify versions of Node and NPM. So the way you do that is you do node-v, and there you go. There's the version. We're going to do npm-v, and there you go. So we know this is working. We know we can do that now. Now we're ready to either install or run a React type site. Now, there's also called Yarn. Yarn is another way, depending on how a developer has created a template. You may use Yarn. Pretty much the commands are the same. It's like Yarn install, Yarn start, all that good stuff. But it will always tell you, and usually these templates will have documentation that will show you which one they developed it in. All right, so we're going to go back over here and we're going to say install Docusaurus. So we're going to go here and we're going to copy this. I'm just showing you the right click menu so you understand what I'm doing. Copy, Control C on Windows, Command C on Mac, and copy this, and we're going to paste this here. I'm just going to right click and it pastes it. Now you can name this whatever you want. I name this Docusaurus. We're going to say React, right? Whatever the case may be, but basically npx is a command from Node.js. We're going to create Docusaurus. We're going to do at the latest Docusaurus React Classic. Now, understand this command came directly from Docusaurus' site. I'll link that, but just understand if you just go out and Google, Bing, Yahoo, whatever, DuckDuckGo, and you search out Docusaurus, it's going to give you the page on how to install directly from the command line. So we're going to do that now. And as you can see, it's starting to run here. It runs. Now it's going to ask me which language. Now, you can usually get away with JavaScript because that's usually great for little personal projects that you're testing. I prefer TypeScript because it's aimed at enterprise level applications. It does dynamic updating. There's a lot of different things. And I know there's dynamic updating in JavaScript as well, but just pick whichever code's easier for you or what type of application you're targeting for. I just do TypeScript. Now, here's a note. Use ChatGPT, use Copilot, use whatever. Use your AI tools to help you, assist you through your code. So if you're new and you want to understand things, you can copy code out of a page, paste it into ChatGPT, and tell it to summarize it for you. Tell it, what is this code doing, right? And that way you can start to learn with the assistance of ChatGPT. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm using my up and down arrow here. I'm using my up and down arrows, and I'm going to select TypeScript. By the way, you could also do dash dash as a switch next to classic. So if I go classic space dash dash, I can either type JavaScript or TypeScript and it'll automatically install it and won't prompt me for this. But I'm just showing you this from the UI experience. So I say install, and there you go. So this is going to take a few minutes. Once this installs, you are ready to go. You can start editing and running and editing a Docusaurus site and really understand how React works. It's truly beautiful in a way that you can do it, and it's learning the structure. That's the key thing, is learning the structure of these new type of React sites. And by the way, if you learn React, you learn how to do this, you can then start building web parts in SharePoint. SharePoint FX, or uses React. It uses a lot of different tools for you to build all types of applications or web parts in SharePoint. So if you have a SharePoint site, you can really enhance it. That way you can bring some significant value to your company. All right, so you can see here, there's always going to be different kinds of errors depending on when the code is pulling from repositories. You can go update them, but it's done. As you can see, it is completely done. It says, happy building awesome websites. That's really cool. So, and it tells you it's completed, it's done. Here it is, npm start, starts the development server. Npm run build, it bundles the website into static files so you can then go publish them. And by the way, that's a command you'll need to do before you go put it out on Git or put it out on uh, uh, Azure static applications, which are just basically static websites. Or you can just do serve to run the built-in website locally. That way it can really get you going, and then you have deploy. But again, we're just showing you the basics here of how to get a React type site working on Windows. And again, this is the same type of commands that you're going to be running on Mac. It's just a little different in terms of the interface, but it's pretty much all the same. All right, so I'm gonna maximize the folders over here, and you're gonna see here's the structure. This is a very basic structure, and it ends in TS, which stands for TypeScript. If it was a JavaScript, which there is some JavaScript up here, it ends in JS. So there you go. So here's all the items that are going to occur in this site. There's blogs, there's docs, there's different type of static. This is where your images can be, where if you want to change your logo, if you want to change any of the things. But this is the install. So Docusaurus automatically installed all of this so you can get going. So what we're going to do is we're first going to run the command it recommended, npm start. So we're going to start the development server. So I'm going to say npm start, and we're going to get going. Uh-oh, error. Why? Well, again, part of being a master problem solver is figuring this out. When you created the site, it created another folder, and we're not in that folder. So you have two options here. We can just change the directory, or you can just move all these files to this primary folder here. Totally up to you. For now, we're just going to do this. We're going to say docu bump, and there it is. And now we're going to do npm start, and now we should be getting to go. So it's going to go through, compile all the data, and this should pop open a web page showing you Docusaurus. So this is going to compile. This takes a little while for the first time, right? Because it's doing some work in the back end. Once it's done, it's going to be really fast. Every single time it'll be really fast. But if you notice, by the way, I only use one monitor. I don't have multiple monitors. Yeah, I have a 4K, 35-inch monitor, but I don't need multiple monitors. It's just one. I use one, right? So here you go. It has completed the development. It started the server, and it's compiling. I'm going to go back here so you can actually see the status of it building, right? It already opened the website. It's sitting here spinning, waiting to load. And it will finalize when this is done compiling, when this is done building, okay? So now it has compiled successfully. Now at this point, if you were to hit Control-C on both Mac and Windows, it's gonna stop the server. So we don't wanna do that because this is what keeps us going. This is what allows us to have real-time editing and real-time updating in the site. I'm gonna flip back over, and you're going to see, boom, here you go, localhost 3000. That's where it told us it was, as you can see here. And here you go. And what's nice about this, it's going to walk you through a tutorial. It tells you the different things you can do. So we're going to go change this. We're going to say tutorial intro. And the nice thing is, you're like, okay, where is that page? We know it's intro. It talks about it. There's an intro-.md here, not dash. But you can go up here to the search and search for text. And we're going to say intro. And as soon as I start typing that, you're going to see it's going to give you a lot of information based on where that's at. So the more you keep going, so this says tutorial intro. So I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to say tutorial intro, and there you go. There it is right there, tutorial intro. So we're going to go over here, and I'm going to change this. We're going to say, welcome to editing React sites. Hey, it didn't change because I didn't save it. As soon as I click save, you're going to see there's an update right here, and here it is. Welcome to editing React sites. That's what's cool. So very easy. This is called Markdown. This language here is called Markdown language. It's not true HTML, but it's Markdown. So it's really easy to learn and understand. And remember, use your copilots. Use Copilot, use ChatGPT, use whatever tools are out there to help you understand and learn what all of this means, what all of these hashtags mean, depending on the header types or the type of titles and all that good stuff. That's what this does, right? So I can continue through in editing things. I can change all this. Again, this really gives you a great understanding of how to troubleshoot, how to work in code, how to work in different tools like Visual Studio, right? Because Visual Studio Code is what I use for pretty much everything, whether it's PowerShell commands, whether it's websites, whether it's Python, whether it's Terraform. I use Visual Studio Code for everything, period. So this should get you started. And the nice thing is there's a lot of tutorials on these, and there's a lot of different sites that you can download to really get you going. And the nice thing is you can host these things. You can host these in Netlify, you can host these in Azure, you can host these out on your whatever hosting company out there that supports these type of sites. They'll get you going, and you can run all your code. So you don't have to go spend a bunch of money on like Wix or whatever. But again, it's totally up to you, but this just helps you get started in troubleshooting, working, and going through code. All right. So I hope this has been helpful. And like I said, if you start a new text file, you can select the language. And when you do that, like I said, it may prompt you to install extensions. As I said, go ahead and do that, and it'll help you out really, really well. So in the next video, we're going to take this site. We're going to take this exact site I just finished building, and we're going to modify it a little bit. We're going to make it look like maybe like Microsoft Learn or something. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna publish it, and we're gonna publish it to Azure. I'm an Azure geek, so that's where I'm going to publish it. You can do it to Netlify, you can do it to wherever you want, but I'm going to show you this in Azure because most of the environment where you're going to be working in is if you're working in an Azure environment, a Microsoft environment, it's really helpful to show that you could build your own documentation sites internally and host them. So again, saving you money, showing you value, showing you bringing value to the company. Right, so that's the goal here. So light mode, dark mode, all these nice fancy things are built in, and that's the beauty of React. All right, so I hope this has been helpful. Like I said, in the next videos, I'm going to show you how to publish this to GitHub, uh, which also publishes it to Azure because Azure looks for your GitHub account, but there's also other places you can host it to. And that way you can continue building and really building a DevOps environment so you understand that piece as well. And I really expect all the experts to jump in there and add commentary because I'm going to keep it very basic. But really looking for people that are going to provide great value to everybody that's learning this on tips, tricks, things to keep you fast. Remember, cool costs you money. Remember that term. So if you're trying to write thousands and thousands of lines of code to be cool or to show what you know, please don't. I really encourage you to be efficient. As we continue to evolve and we want to be efficient and really speed through things, keep your code efficient, keep it as less as possible. Obviously, you want to optimize and you want to make sure it's secure, but again, you really want to focus on keeping it efficient so you can continue to learn and keep going. All right. So again, hope this has been helpful. And like I said, we did all these pieces here, so you're good to go. And like I said, I'll see you in the next video. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.